Hey guys, what's up? I'm Slim and you're watching Slimothy TV. In this video, I've got a really cool one for you guys. We are going to do, I think this is the third in our series of SkyGlass. This application has had a ton of updates since our last video. And when you combine all these new features together, this absolutely warrants a new video. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First of all, if you didn't see our other previous two videos on SkyGlass, go ahead and check those out after this one. I'm not gonna go over anything that's too complex here. I'm gonna try to keep everything pretty simple in this video so that you guys don't have to reference those videos just yet. The first thing I want to show you guys is the weather radar. Now this is a huge new feature that SkyGlass has, and I think it is a game changer right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on right now. We can either do radar or satellite. And if I hit this little settings cog right here, I can actually see more settings. So I can either change the opacity for the radar or the satellite. I can also switch the color and the resolution, and of course the speed. So let's hop onto the weather radar right now. So that is going to load up right now in the background. You can see right here, loading weather radar. I'm gonna zoom in and you guys can see just how clear this radar is. And you can kind of see how the aircraft are going either around the storms or through the storms. Some of them, especially cargo planes, tend to go straight through storms because they don't have to worry about passengers. But you guys can see it goes all the way across the continental US as well as into Canada here, which is actually very rare. It's difficult for me to find any weather radar these days that actually goes into Canada. This one's got Alaska. Let's see if it's got Hawaii. I haven't checked. I'm not sure if they have any weather out there right now. It doesn't look like it, but if I scroll over here, you guys are gonna also see over here in China, we can see the weather that's going on over there, even the Philippines. I'm sure their coverage is not quite as good as it is over here in the States. But yeah, just definitely a cool thing to see. Depending on what you use SkyGlass for, having the weather overlay for the radar is going to be clutch. Now, on top of this, you also have satellite. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn both of them on at once. It's gonna load up the satellite weather right now. So now we can see the weather radar plus the cloud cover, which can really give us a good idea of how the winds are spinning, where the low pressure centers are, and what's going on in the atmosphere. So this can be a game changer depending on how you use SkyGlass. You may or may not even like this. You may not even ever use it. But me personally, I think this is awesome to have. It just gives you even more information and you can kind of see maybe why planes are deviating from a specific area. This is great to have. Again, if you don't like this, if it's too dark, you can lighten it up. And if it's too light, you can darken it up so you can really see it. I like it right around 50%, which is where the default is. And then once it's all loaded up and you want to see it in motion, you can go ahead and hit this little play button right here. And it's going to go ahead and cycle through. It's going to load it up first into memory, and then it's going to cycle through just like so. And you're going to be able to see this in motion. Now I have mine set to relatively slow here. Now you can see it's going to refresh on its own in about 5 minutes, which is probably a good refresh rate. And then over here, we can see the time. So you can see it's buffering through it right now. I have mine set to high resolution, so it's taking a little longer here just to load up into memory. But once it's done here in just a moment, it's going to stitch those all together just like so. And look at that. I can really get a good idea of what's going on. I can see the low pressure centers right over here. And it's kicking off over into Canada, which is crazy. So I'm sure air travel up in Detroit, Chicago even, it's probably being impacted a little bit. And I could throw up the airplanes on here and take a look and see if I wanted to delve deeper into that. But now I'm gonna go ahead and slide this up too fast. And there we go. I actually kind of like that as well. I think I'm gonna leave it somewhere right in the middle. I think that's perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. I'm going to turn off the radar and I'm gonna go ahead and pop this away. So there we go. That was the new radar feature, which may be my favorite new feature, but honestly, these next ones are pretty cool as well. So if you hover over this little show hide Pro Plus feature button, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that, and I instantly get access to TFRs, Airmets, and Sigmets. So let's go ahead and click on the Airmets right now, just to see what we've got. So we've got turbulence, we've got icing, we've got mountain obstruction, we got everything going on right now. So I can kind of scroll around here and see in 3D space how this looks. Now, typically when I am looking at different Airmets for turbulence, for example, in pretty much every single application ever, it's just going to tell me, in numbers, like how many feet up, that turbulence is set for and where to expect it. But in this case, I can actually see it in 3D space, like I mentioned before. And that is something that is incredibly valuable, especially if you're a visual learner, visual person. You like to be able to see, to understand, and this makes it so easy to tell where that turbulence is, how high up it goes. So if you're a pilot, I think this would be awesome to have. If you're just learning about aviation, you're just curious, this is something as well that I don't think there's any other program out there that can visualize where the icing is, where the turbulence is set, things like that. And that's just invaluable in my opinion. So this is a fantastic feature right here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off just so that we don't get too cluttered. Now, of course, on the left side, if you want, you can filter out, like if you don't care about the Airmet IFR, we can turn that off. We can turn off the mountain obstruction, if you just wanted to see one or the other. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn off all of them, and I'm gonna go down to Sigmets. Now this is also very interesting because you can see where the convective zones are, where potential, thunderstorms like right here, convective areas all the way down here along the East Coast. There's a lot. Now, same goes for these. You can actually use this to select and, toggle on and off whichever ones you want. There's only one icing up here for Sigmet, and you can, of course, view these in 3D space, just like so. There's no volcanics here, maybe somewhere else in the world, but for right now, I can't really show you any volcanics, but you get the idea. These Sigmets are very important for pilots to take heed of and take a look at. And seeing them in 3D space is awesome. And lastly, this is something you probably won't want to mess with too much, but you can if you want. You can change the thickness of these if, it's too thin, too thick, however you want to see it, whatever makes most sense for you. And you can change the wording here. So if it was too small for you, too big, get it just how you want. And of course, just like everything in SkyGlass, you can adjust the relative height, just like you can with aircraft, to get it exactly dialed in how you want and whatever makes sense for you. So I'm going to leave mine right about here. I think that's good separation and gives me a good idea of what is going on. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn these off, and I'm going to click on that panel to kind of close it out. And with that, we are going to move on to the Pro Features panel. So this is really cool. So if I click on this first one here, it's gonna show all airspace geometries, and that's going to use a lot of resources. I'll show you guys that maybe in a minute. But first, let's take a look at the airspace subpanel. I'm sure most of you guys watching this probably already know this, but airspace is classified under different classes, Class D, Class B, Class C. You can go ahead and turn those on or off. So I went ahead and turned on Class B airspace. We're gonna go ahead and let this load up real quickly here. So I'm gonna go ahead and tweak this just a bit to make it more readable. And there we go. We have Class B airspace in 3D view right here of pretty much every single airport around here. And yeah, take a look at this. Look how nice this is to look at and really visualize this Class B airspace. Of course, I can turn on C and D as well, which I will do, of course, for you guys here in a second. But I just wanted to show you B first here because it did take a minute to load up. But this is what it looks like once it's all rendered. Looks fantastic here. And you can really see, yeah, it feels like you're going through it there, huh? And you can really see what the airplanes are doing in that different space. I made the airplanes a little bit smaller, but I can make them bigger depending on what I want to see. Right now, we want to see Class B. Let's go ahead and load up. We're going to turn off Class B. We're going to turn on Class C. So there we go. Class B is off and Class C is on. Now this one is going to have to render this as well. So let's give it a minute. And here we have the Class C airspace loaded up for you guys to look at. This one is a little bit smaller. So you guys can get an idea of what this looks like. And I have made the aircraft pretty small, just for the sake of this video. We can see what the different Class C airspace looks like at different airports. And lastly, I'm gonna load up the Class D airspace here. So let's just let that go for just a minute here. And there we go, Class D airspace is all loaded up. So this really helps you visualize the differences between the different airspaces. And of course, you can stack them on top of each other if you want. So I can put Class C on top of Class D here. We just have to wait for it to load back up. You guys can see it's coming in right now, but I think you guys get the idea here. These are all easily visualized with SkyGlass. You can also view mode C airspace right here, and I can easily toggle that off. There's also the option to show prohibited airspace. So you can see those. I think this goes without saying as to why that is prohibited. And here is the restricted airspace, which there's a lot more of this, and we can scroll down here and kind of see all around the country. I believe down here, actually, this is where one of those balloons is at. I think there's some sort of balloon that does, they monitor drug trafficking from Cuba. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, there's like a big balloon that's up there. So that's restricted airspace, but I'm gonna go ahead and toggle that off here. Now, if I went ahead and turned on the yellow alert here as well, this is just different types of restricted airspace. Once this loads up, I can actually go ahead and just filter these out. So if I didn't want to see, this super restricted airspace, I could, toggle that off. I could also toggle off the blues if that wasn't something I wanted to see. I can do that as well for those types of areas. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the danger alerts here. Let's see if we have any, just this one. It's just the only danger. Is that out here in the Bahamas? Yes, because I believe that is a military, off-site military area over here on Andros Island, if I'm not mistaken. So that's probably what's going on out there. They're probably doing something that maybe they don't want people to know about. That's what that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. And then we have an MOA, which is for military. These are the military operation areas, and it is going to load these up real quick here. Actually, it looks like there's quite a few of them, but looking at these in 3D space is really cool, especially for the military ops. They're always up to something. And with this, you can really see and dial into where they are. And with this, you can also, of course, overlay the military air traffic and kind of correlate it that way as well. So that's something that's neat to do. I mean, look at that. It's so cool to see, at what altitudes they've got these different assignments and air missions. So very cool. And like I said, in this video, we're just going over the new features. There's so many features in this. I could literally make this video probably 3 to 4 hours long if I went through every single feature, possibly even longer than that. So if you're planning to get SkyGlass or already have it, just know that you need to sit down for a decent amount of time and just go ahead and learn everything. Just go at your own pace. This is not something to rush. There's just a lot to it. It's something that you just want to take your time and just learn it at your own pace. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the MOAs now that they all loaded. So now I'm loading up the airport runways. So these are going to load in right now. You guys can see them already popping up down here. So let's go ahead and zoom in and see what we can take a look at here. So it looks like these are populating by state. This is my first time running this airports right here. Most of these other ones I have already loaded up, but this one is my first time. So let's go ahead and see what we've got. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. This is rendering 40,000. So let's go ahead and give it some time and we'll be back in a sec. All right, I changed my mind. We're not gonna wait for all of these runways to load, but you guys can definitely get the idea of what this is showing. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn them off here. So let's wait for them to disappear. There we go. Now we can get heliports, which there should be a lot less of these, although it still says 40,000 right here. But we're just gonna let a few of them load, and you guys can see the heliports are showing up now in case you want to see where those are. Of course, you could overlay the airports with the heliports like I'm doing right now. So this is also an option, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop that and turn these off for now, and we will move on to the Overwatch alert system interface. Now that we have the Overwatch button selected, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the plus button here, and I'm going to go ahead and just draw a custom area to show you guys. We'll do around northern Alabama here. So I'm gonna go ahead and click here, and I'm gonna go ahead and just draw. There we go. We got our little Overwatch area here. I guess I kind of got all of Alabama there, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit make Overwatch. And just like that, I can now close out of this, and I have the Overwatch right here, and I can toggle it on and off. So right now it's off, right now it's on. I can hit the settings button and rename it if I want, change the upper limit, lower limit, split it, delete it, whatever I want to do there. So I just went ahead and changed this to 10,000 feet just so we could get a little bit of an alert here, and it just dinged, and here are the aircraft that are within that area that I specified right here. And I can go ahead and, zoom in on those and do whatever I need to do. Now it does have an audio alert, but I can toggle that on or off right here if I want. I can also toggle on or off voice alerts, and I can clear all current alerts from the list. So let's say I already looked through these and I just want a fresh slate. I can just press that and they're gone. Then I can click the little settings button here to enable or disable voice alerts, choose the voice. So we got Lily here. We've also got MonkeyWerxUS, that's awesome. Amy, Ava, Caleb, Daniel, like tons of different voices here. That's actually hilarious that they have MonkeyWerxUS in here. It's interesting, I chose Amy and MonkeyWerxUS voice came up. Anyways, show traces for alert aircraft, which I can do, and I can also log alerts to a file if I wanted to, and I can change the format right here. But let's go ahead, I'm gonna turn off the voice alert because I personally don't need that. I'm gonna go ahead and close out those settings. So already this is incredibly powerful right here to make your own Overwatch areas. Let's say there was a specific area that you wanted to have eyes on, you can set one of these up. Like I said at the beginning, guys, it's very difficult for me to pick my favorite feature here because I love every single one of these so far. Now this feature versus weather radar, it's usually weather radar wins it out for me, but honestly, this Overwatch ability is just so freaking powerful. I mean, being able to set up these different watch alerts wherever you are and change the parameters it's very nice to see. So of course I can toggle it on and off if I don't want to hear about it anymore. There we go. I just turned it back on. I'm going to clear the list, and I'm also going to clear this one here. So we are good. So I have no more Overwatches. That is now off my list. I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to close that out. We also have flight history report mode right here, and then flight ops mode right here. And then lastly, we have this button here, which can show other features like the automatic sweeper, the follow mode, things that you guys have probably seen before. We can change the colors of the different aircraft right here, toggling full screen mode, things like that. Now, if you guys watched our last video, you probably saw how snappy that SkyGlass was in that version. Honestly, 2 years ago, I think it was, it must have been 2 years ago that we did the last update. It was pretty smooth here. Now I'm running this on a 2021 MacBook Pro and I am using just the trackpad. I'm not using a mouse or anything, and it is this smooth. Now most applications are not this smooth, especially when I'm just using a trackpad like this and not a mouse. This I can manipulate it exactly how I want. It has gotten even smoother since our last video. So if you tried out SkyGlass maybe a long time ago and it was too clunky or slow, definitely try it out now. It runs super fast. Of course, this is an older MacBook. This is 2021, but it is the maxed out version. So it's still definitely relevant today, and it is not heating up at all from this, and there's almost no lag. The thing that takes the longest with this program is just loading the databases because there's just so much information that you can do here. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. But if you are just someone that is a frequent flyer and just likes to see air traffic, this is something you might like just because of the different Sigmets that you can look at if you're a nerd like that. If you just want to see the weather radar, if you want to track different airplanes, if you are into that, you just want to see what's out there, set up your Overwatch. if you are someone in the military. You also might want to set up the Overwatch alerts for different areas for different reasons. There's tons of different types of people that might want to use SkyGlass. For me, I am just an aviation enthusiast, and I enjoy looking at things in a different way than just, the ADS-B exchange where it's just a 2D playing field. This is 3D, so feature packed, is literally unrivaled right now. If you haven't checked out SkyGlass, check it out, links to it down below. Of course, I'll be doing videos in the future showing you guys more and more of the features here. For now, I think this video is long enough and it goes over most of the things you guys are going to be curious about. If there's anything in particular you want to see, drop a comment down below and I will get back to you guys as soon as possible. If you like the video, hit the big thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.